Okay, so one anime hater versus not 20 anime fans. Who y'all think will win? I got my money on the anime fans because we, the goats, we always lock in. So anime home fans bring
I'm
it home
Max,
for us.
and welcome 20 anime lovers versus one anime hater. I think anime is for kids. Do I say it like that?
I'm already really intimidated looking into your eyes.
What are we doing? Can we have someone who actually speaks sense?
My name is Reed. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
I have to disagree with you. First of all, because a lot of anime are made at an intellectual level that is not for kids at all. Evangelion, for example, not for children in its themes.
Yeah, so it's difficult to define an entire genre as content that is just childish, right? And I'm not trying to make that argument with anime.
No,
I
I
think
don't
you can
think you
take
are.
content from anything that's not live action, that's stop motion, that's animated, and say there's some that's for kids and some that's not for kids, based on the content itself. My argument is less so about the storylines and the plots, and less so the way anime presents itself
So
as
more
media.
about the physical, like,
Well, right,
what you're
because
seeing.
my argument is that anime is very overly stimulating and appealing.
Okay,
to
well we can say that for anything, really, can't we? We what's your favorite anime? Mine is AOT or MHA. Favorite anime. If we're talking OG, like my first anime was Pokemon, so that one holds a close spot in my heart. But like that one, but favorite Konosuba, man, that show had me cracking up when I first watched it. Like I couldn't stop laughing when I first watched Konosuba. It was a long time ago, but I will remember. It was the first anime that I actually thought was funny because, like, I don't really find anime humor that funny because, like, I don't know why. It's just not funny. It's entertaining. It's entertaining for sure, but I don't really laugh out loud at anime like, that's funny, that's hilarious. I don't really do that with anime. It's more so, it's good, but, like, Konosuba actually made me laugh. And back on the overstimulating thing, you could say that for anything really. You could say Marvel movies are overstimulating. You could say certain TV shows are overstimulating. A bunch of stuff happens in Marvel films with the explosions and stuff, but you wouldn't say it's for kids.
the eye when you look at
Well,
them.
actually, you would say it's for kids. I'm talking about like anything like rated PG-13 and above.
The way characters present themselves and the way the
Okay.
visuals are. And I think that something like that that's so stimulating is much more easy and catching to a child's brain. It's something that is there for a child to pay attention to and be stimulated by in a way that someone who's older as an adult can give more knowledge to an actual plot line might not care as much about. And for that reason, I think it's childish.
So you think that more of the visual, the color representation, and more like from the art base
Yes.
is what is causing it
Yes,
to be
because
childish?
adults don't need that. But
Okay.
but kids,
Okay. Adults don't need that. Then why do we? Or they're like, why do adult animations exist? You wouldn't say South Park is made for kids, but it is like it's styled like a kids show. But you would never say South Park's for kids. You never say Family Guy's for kids. You never say what's another one of those Adult Swim shows. You never say like Robot Chicken was for kids. None of those things are for kids, but they're stylized in that eye-catching way, in that cartoonishy way.
will get into that more so, and
Okay.
it'll keep them hooked.
I raise you on that. I raise you on that because there's also things, think of like, if you were to put a show on for a kid, they're more likely to enjoy like a Marvel movie than if you put on, say, just because it's right here, Evangelion, because a lot of shows are slow starters.
Don't acknowledge
Yeah. Nah, we're good. I'm listening to
The
you.
animation is there for a reason, but in not all aspects of it are there to present to children. Like there are more, not like sexualized art styles, but there are more mature art styles that aren't necessarily made to appeal to kids. Like the Junji Ito series that they did is very art-based and not more on that kind of wave. Or there's like
Yeah, I don't. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna let
Like
you keep talking.
Project Ito's works are very more adult themed and more adult like animated at like a higher level that's not made to appeal to children, or even shows that aren't done in a color grade that would even appeal to people with shorter attention
Of course,
spans.
and I think there are plenty of examples throughout the genre where you're going to find different levels of artistic representation. But my point is, when you look at children's shows across the boards, oftentimes we're not looking at just
Okay, about. You know what?
plain old live action shows, right? There's something there, whether it's the outfits or the animations or the color, right? That is a very common trope we see in kids shows throughout media, and that is something that is consistent throughout the entire genre of anime, which is why it's easier for kids.
Pause. That's 10 flags.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
She wasn't really getting her points out. Chat. She was like, there's a lot of stuttering. There wasn't like, she wasn't getting a lot of points out. She was just kind of speaking without any real
What's your name, by
substance.
the way?
Manny.
Manny?
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Going to what I was hearing earlier about outfits. So a lot of the times, if it's not, of course, like clearly like weirdly like over-sexualized stuff that kind of comes up here and there with like really revealing.
Right, I think
Bro, I hate fan service. Like, especially when it's forced into a show like, what's it? Fire Force? Bro, fan service absolutely kills that show, bro. You'll be in the most hype action scene ever. It'll be the craziest fight you'll ever see. Then you'll just see some random girl just fully no clothes. It's just like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. Like, this was not necessary. This was... This didn't need to be here.
both agree that over-sexuality in anime is not for children at all. I'm not here to say that that's for kids. Let's make that very clear, everyone.
Right, but certain exaggerated clothing, kind of like maybe like My Hero, like a bunch of crazy outfits to kind of show off their powers and stuff like that, right? Part of like a more mature side of what's going on in these shows. Not to say that that one is, but a good example to say that there are media that have like plain clothing styles and a more deeper hidden meaning behind these plots. I like to give the manga Goodnight Poon Poon a good example. Things like that, which is not made for children for sure. The reason why it's not for kids is because that story kind of depicts many of these kind of ideologies in a really like bizarre way. More so kind of like internal trauma, like a lot of profanity, violence, themes of assault, which of course should not be displayed in any way to a child. Its target audience not only being for adults, because it's not a book made.
Okay, this counter needs to catch up with the flags, but yeah, what's it called? Yeah, there's some animes that are just like way too, I guess, advanced is the word for kids. So like, I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head, like AOT, like no. It's clearly not meant for kids. The ideologies of like war and like revenge and like those consequences and just the stuff that is discussed and talked about. It's like way too gritty for you to say it's geared towards kids.
Made for kids, clearly.
Sure.
Even when you go to a Barnes & Noble, you'll see it sealed up by the plastic because
So,
there are things in it that you don't
Just out
want
of
for kids.
curiosity, what do you think is more traumatizing and harmful
Pause.
to a child?
That's 10.
Okay.
Okay, they keep on
Can we finish?
knocking them out too quick.
Okay.
I'm not here to argue that those are concepts that children should be exposed to a lot or that are even for kids, right?
Right.
But what I will say is that anime as a genre is confined to its artistic expression, the way it's visually presented, right? And I guess I would ask you then, if you had to pick your child to see a violent act being performed on someone or whatever inappropriate thing it is, would you rather have your child see that from live action cinema or from an anime?
Okay, I see. Okay, that's a good point. You know, I don't agree with him about the animes for kids, but that's actually a good valid point he brings up because like you'd rather like if like of course you'd never want a kid to see something like violent stuff like that, but you'd much rather see someone being crushed by a mallet in like Tom and Jerry's or Looney Tunes than in like in live action where there's gonna be blood and way more realistic. So it's like they can actually perceive these things in real life because they're seeing it on real life people. But in cartoons, it'll be like someone being cartoons or even anime. It'll be someone being like squished or like splatted, not splatted, but like it just looks too unrealistic for them to like perceive it in the real world.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Real life, by the way.
First person to the table in 3, 2, 1.
What part are they?
I used to play basketball.
Max.
Misha.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Yes, anime, as depicted in mainstream media, is very childlike. But that's because the mainstream media, like the anime that is being shown to a lot of people, is from specifically the shonen or the shoujo aspect, the genres, which are made
Shonen's the
for
goat.
children.
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care what they say. I don't care if it's made for children. Shonen is the best anime genre out there, followed by what would be the next best anime genre? Hot take, bro. Romance animes be slapping, bro. That's all I'm gonna say. Romance animes be slapping. If it's a good one. If it's a good one. The bad ones are bad, but the good ones, they're good. But yeah, shonen are just so iconic, though. Like, so iconic. You think of, if you ask a random stranger on the street to name an anime, it's gonna be a shonen, like 9 times out of 10.
Go means like smaller.
Sure.
Nen means like boy. Jo means girl. So smaller boys, like anime is meant for smaller, younger individuals, younger men or younger like girls, right? But also animation in American like styles are also having those sense of genres too. My Little Pony is made for like younger girls, and then we also have like Clarence or like The Amazing World of Gumball made for younger male individuals, audiences.
Right.
There are still topics that are being depicted in anime that are not made for children, which
in,
are
sorry,
not
in Western animes or in
Japanese animes too. But storylines across both, like across the world,
Sure.
can be not meant for children.
I feel like every single one of them is kind of saying, rehashing the same thing of like, it's not made for, like, I feel like there's so many different angles you could attack this at, but like, I've yet to one of them. I was saying earlier, like one of them should bring up like adult cartoons exist, but those clearly aren't made for kids. So like South Park, like I was saying earlier, or you could also talk about like bring up examples of grittier animes like the AOTs, like the what else? What's another gritty one? I'm blanking right now, but yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Children. So to say that anime is specifically meant for children or is for kids, I don't think is a very accurate nomination of anime as a art form.
Look, anime is about storytelling, and I wholeheartedly agree with you that anime as an art form can have deeper meanings that are not for kids within the literature, right? But I think you even agreed with yourself in there that anime as a medium of art can show children and expose children things in a way that's maybe easier and less inappropriate than it otherwise would be. I think we can all agree that seeing someone have their head cut off in a cartoon is much more childish or for children than having them have that happen in a live action film.
Of
And look,
course.
I'm not here to say that, look, anime can never express real meaning in a story that resonates with adults too, but the inherent nature of the art form is childish if we're going to be showing these overly stimulating images that maybe are easier for a child to engage with than an adult.
All right,
Would you
time's
agree with
up.
that?
Yeah.
That was it. That was 10 minutes.
Okay, but I'm not gonna lie, they got a good quote unquote Berserk. Yeah, Berserk is a great example. My
What's up,
word.
Max?
Good to see you, John.
Love you, bro. Guys, Max, great friend from high school. Love him, but his whole point is just inherently flawed. So your main point was that if you were to choose what your kid to watch for animation, getting beheaded, or live action, you choose animation, right?
Sure.
Well, that
It's
completely
not, I don't
doesn't-
want to say that's my main point, but it's a point.
I would say that was your main point, which it does kind of make sense. Of course, I'd want my kid to watch the animation rather than the live
Sure,
action,
sure.
but I wouldn't show them either. So why is it just inherently more for kids if I'm watching the animation? That doesn't make sense. Does it make sense?
Well, the point I made is that something that is animated is less traumatizing
yeah,
to
his
the
point
child
does make sense.
than it would be if it's
Okay.
live
Oh,
action,
and-
which inherently makes more childish, more
Okay.
for kids.
I highly
right?
disagree with you. If I showed my kid Berserk, would they not be traumatized from that?
I'm not
Does that make
familiar
sense?
with Berserk.
Well,
Talk about it.
Okay. Well, then maybe you should get more familiarized. Is that the right word? Get more familiar, dog. Because that doesn't make sense.
Okay, bro, you can't just say get more familiar then. That's stupid. You at least explain what it is to him. If you explain what it is to him, you at least get a better idea.
I spend my time watching niche indie anime.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I have better things to do with my time.
This is what I'm saying. Your point does not inherently make any sense. Of course, I do agree with you. Anime was maybe inherently made for kids, but that doesn't mean adults
Okay,
don't
but
watch
to
anime. or love it.
describe Berserk to me, Gianni.
I don't want to, just for the sake of getting demonetized.
Yeah, low key. They very yeah. If he did describe Berserk, like there's a 99.9% chance this video gets not copyrighted. It gets age restricted.
I don't want to. And of course, as my great friend Matt brought up, the interesting niche of anime that begins with an H. That is also inherently not for kids. So while I do agree with you, anime in general maybe might be more catered towards children, as you were saying, like shonen. What we're saying, it was made for kids. There's so much other.
That
Vinland
describes my
Saga.
argument,
That-
Gianni.
Okay,
right?
yeah, of course.
Of course. You go through kid TV shows, right? I mean, there's kid TV shows that are animated in America that are Western shows, right? But I don't think anyone's gonna go and say Family Guy is for kids.
That's what I
right?
was saying. Okay, why is he using the argument though? But yeah, why is he using the argument? Because Loki's selling his argument. But like, yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. No, Family Guy's not for kids. South Park's not for kids. But they're still in that animated style.
Screw.
And the same thing applies to anime.
Okay.
But overall,
Okay,
as
overall.
a genre, compared to live action media, and even the way the images are presented and the art is presented,
Okay.
it's more childish.
Okay, maybe you could say it's more childish. Doesn't mean it's for children. And I think it's just an immature view to have if you're saying people who love anime are watching a kid show. How does that make sense to you?
I don't think people who love anime are often watching kids shows, but I think if you're gonna make a show and you want to make it for kids, it's a hell of a lot easier to make it for kids if you're gonna make it animated versus live action.
Okay, I agree with that. But again, with my
But okay, he's saying it's easier if it's in live action. But let's not forget there's a lot of kids shows that are live action too. Like any Disney Channel show ever, Disney XD, those other Nickelodeon shows. Think of your Victoriouses, your Liv and Maddies, your iCarlys, your Austin and Alleys, your Big Time Rushes. Those are also geared towards kids. So it's not purely animated media that kids consume.
argument, does that make it?
I'm not
live
showing my
action?
kids Berserk if that's what you're trying to do.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. But I think.
But I'm also not letting my kids watch like Stewie Griffin like talk with Brian about all the things they say. Right?
Exactly, yeah, exactly. But then you inherently agree with us that anime is not just made for kids. I think that's what we're all agreeing on.
My argument is not that,
it's not just
every
made for
single
kids.
anime is for kids.
Okay.
My argument is
Okay.
that the art style that anime presents itself in is more childish
Okay.
and therefore lends it to be more for kids than live action media.
Okay, well, I could come to an agreement with that statement. That sure, I think you changed up your argument a little bit though. That sure,
I think I
the
made that
animation
pretty
is
clear
more.
from the beginning, Johnny. I think I made that pretty clear when I talked to her.
Bro, I was going, bro. I was going. All right, good. Hey, good. Dude, I was going crazy.
I was going crazy.
The anime community ruins anime.
You know, it isn't the anime community. It's the MHA community. No, I'm playing. Some y'all, some of them out there.
Can I
freaks.
have you explain why is it toxic?
Yeah. When you look at the way fans interact with the media itself, there's a lot of gatekeeping and there's a lot of unnecessary ranking systems that I think lead to exclusion and resentment.
They had a lot of fun making those. Oh my god. Yeah, they definitely did. What is it called? But like, people rank everything, bro. There's a we did a cartoon network tier list. That isn't anime. It's cartoons, but it wasn't anime, and we still ranked that. So, and we didn't like ruin. I wouldn't say I wouldn't say we ruined anything by just ranking some anime. I mean, ranking some cartoons. So I don't really like his point about the ranking things. I feel like ranking is a great way to see what other people think about a certain thing that you may also enjoy. People rank superheroes, their favorite foods, all those types of things. So that happens across all fan bases of all things all the time. So you can't just say that as a negative for anime.
Rather than just overall acceptance within the community. For example, I have often seen anime fans say, oh, if you haven't watched this anime or this specific niche indie anime, then you're not a real fan. And I think that mindset is problematic and
well, you could say the same thing about games, bro. Isekai tier list, remember that. You an OG for real. Now I know you an OG. Like you an OG. Oh, that's a pull, bro. That's out there. But yeah, you can't say this about anime because you could say the exact same thing about video games. Video games particularly. But you can also say the same thing for normal TV shows and movies. If you haven't watched this 1960 noir film by Edgar Allan Poe, are you really a film enjoyer? Like you could say that, but like video games especially, people will be like, oh, why are you playing that mainstream stuff, bro? Get off Fortnite and hop on Laundromat Tycoon 3 The Third Awakening. Like, it's not just anime.
It's the community being perceived as toxic.
Okay, don't you think that's also very common in other forms of media?
That's what I'm saying.
Such as like music. I feel like it was very common with music though, with a thing where it's like, oh, if you haven't listened to this artist, you're not a real fan.
He's saying exactly what I'm thinking. The music one is a great one. I wasn't even thinking of music. I was thinking more of like film media because I was comparing it to anime. But he's spot on. Like, man, y'all ain't listening to real music unless you listening to that underground, bro. Listen to Willy Wop 3, 4, 5 if you want real music. Are you listening to Beyonce? Oh, get that mainstream garbage out of here. Wow, you're so cool for listening to music no one likes. I mean, not even no one likes. No one's really heard. Like, it's music is certain songs are popular for a reason. I hate when people say stupid stuff like, "Oh, you're listening to a TikTok song." Well, it just happened to blow up on TikTok because people liked it. And because people like it, like, odds are more people are gonna like it. So I just happen to be one of those people who liked it.
Name 3 songs.
Yeah,
Of, like,
I mean, I think
Nirvana.
there's plenty of like musicians who you can say their fan
Put
base
you in
is
the
toxic.
background.
But
right?
it's not just musicians in the end. It's also just like TV
I
shows.
don't think the whole I don't think there's a whole. Let's put it this way. You could say that some musicians have a toxic fan base. You could say that some TV shows have a toxic fan base. Then you could say that about like Rick and Morty, for example, right? But my point is though, anime, I don't think anyone's coming out and saying that fans of music or fans of television overall are toxic. But I think you could make that argument much stronger.
You can't just say he's not even giving a reason for what he's saying. He's just saying that, I mean, they just are more toxic. No, bro, some musicians' fan base are toxic, brother. Like, for example, oh God, protect my soul. Taylor Swift. Let me preface this. This is in no way antagonistic towards Taylor Swift or any of her fans or anyone. But there is a specific group of her fans that will slaughter anyone who speaks ill of her. And those are some of the most toxic people out there, bro. They will crucify you for speaking ill of Taylor Swift. But let's say again, don't come. Hey, I love bumping me some Taylor Swift. Give me give me Shake It Off. Give me Bad Blood. Give me You Belong to Me. I bump me some Taylor Swift. I can get down with that Taylor Swift. I'm just saying. No hate.
About anime when you look at its fan base.
isn't it the same way like you just said? Like it's like
Yeah,
some
there's
anime fans
toxicity
that's
everywhere.
Yeah, there's toxicity
but
everywhere.
there's a higher presence of it in anime based on the way.
Does he
fans
have
talk
proof?
about it.
I think that's more of a loud minority rather than a majority of fans. Because I've been to multiple conventions myself. I've met people. I feel like most people I've met that are big fans of anime, just like anime, they don't like really properly gatekeep it. You're just talking about like a very loud minority, where it's like they're just like weird. I agree that there's weird people.
Problem
there.
is when it
There's weird
comes to
people everywhere.
content creation, these content creators and these influencers have an outside voice compared to other genres as a whole. And if you want your fandom, anime, to stop being perceived as such, then more people need to create content that doesn't perceive that message or spread it.
Okay, I get where you're coming from. Actually, yeah, TheAnimeMen.
Yeah, terrible. But like, he keeps on saying these things that apply to all forms of media and music. There are just as toxic music content creators out there, just as toxic TV show creators out there, just as toxic movie raters and reviewers out there. Bro, what's that one website called? IGN? Bro, those are some hating ass. Like, bro, they hate on everything. What did they give the new Fantastic Four? Like a 7? Bro, they will never give anything a good rating, and they're not anime. Those are just movies in general. So yeah.
Okay.
So maybe
He
you
keeps
shouldn't
saying
get a
these things that
girlfriend.
Yeah, I should. You're right. I'm not.
Wait, what did you just say?
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe you shouldn't get a girlfriend.
Yeah, I should. You're right. I'm not.
Hey, bro, what was that for? There was no need for that. Going for the jugular like that. Okay.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you, man.
Oh, yeah.
Max is one of my good high school friends. So
This is
we
my
know
best
each other
friend
very
right
well.
here.
So your argument is that gatekeeping is the toxic part.
Yeah, I think gatekeeping is a trait and a behavior you.
Gatekeeping. That ain't just anime, my brother. Gatekeeping isn't just an anime thing. Bro, you'll call up when your homeboys talking about some, hey yo, I saw that fit you put on Insta, bro, on your story. Bro, where you get that from? That shit, that look tough as hell. And then they'll reply with, oh, I'm breaking up. Oh, is that a plane? Ah! Just so they don't have to tell you where they got that fit from. And also, what is it? I forget. Like people gatekeep food, bro. You'll be eating. Someone will see you eating a good meal, like it'll be like, hey, where you get that from? And they're like, oh, bro, I forgot, bro. You know where you got that meal from. You know you just came from In-N-Out and got one of their secret menus, but you ain't trying to share. That ain't anime. That's just your big bag.
See a lot of people in
Yeah.
communities that are toxic. Yes.
Yes, of course. So I actually don't think that in itself makes anime or the community toxic,
Why?
right? Because I think the majority of the community is actually accepting of other people and bringing them into the topic of anime.
Do you think these guys are accepting?
I think they're. I actually would argue that they are accepting. In fact, the TheAnimeMen specifically make videos about anime that have very specific jokes and things.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like that is true though, because like most anime fans, they want people they can talk about anime with, so they'd rather put someone on than gatekeep. They'll be like, you gotta watch this anime. This is perfect, bro. Like, I have so many friends that I've told, like, you need to watch this anime just so I can have someone to talk about that anime with.
Things that tailor to that audience, but I think that they aren't gatekeeping, if that makes sense. And in fact, they actually expand their audience by making music videos to popular songs and such, which I think actually creates an environment where they're actually being more inviting than they are.
See, I think you're wrong. You're talking about maybe a community of creators here that have done a great job, but
Yeah.
I think so often you go into spaces where people really engage with the content, and you find someone that they're just going to say, oh, well, this character in this season is this amount of powerful, and this person in this episode, who would beat who in this.
Okay, but that's first more specific. Like, that's for everything though. because some people will. You can't say like someone's gatekeeping a movie if they're doing a review of a movie and they just haven't watched it. You can't say they're gatekeeping that. That person who's watching just hasn't seen the movie, so you can't say that person's being toxic for giving a review on a movie. That makes no sense. You can't just say that. That the review of that movie would be geared to someone who's watched the movie, similar to how like someone talking about a specific anime or an episode of an anime. That content is geared to someone who's watched that episode of that anime. So, like, y'all understand what I'm trying to say. You can't really say that's gatekeeping necessary. That you just haven't watched that thing yet. So that means like, should no one make any content, because not every single person in this world has watched every single thing, because that's pretty much the point he's making now.
Dynamic, and it's like all this like back and forth and arguing and like twisting their nutsacks around, and it's like, come on now, like that's not what this is about.
Power
like it's fun,
skills.
but you can't get so upset about arguing the semantics of the topic if you want it to be fun. And I see that too often when
Okay, but that's your definition of fun. Some people love just like going in and like, man, Flash would be okay. Well, you could I was even mean to say the Flash, but you could say the exact same thing for Western media, comic books. People power scale all the time. Man, Flash would beat Superman in a race any day of the week, bro. Like, look at his feats. Look at this. Look at that. Look at this. It's not just anime. If that's this is like your driving point. That can't be your driving points. Guys will power scale anything. Yeah, that's true. But they also power scale in comics as well, in movies and action movies. Like, it ain't just an anime thing. It's bigger in anime, that's for certain. But like, yeah.
I've seen anime being perceived outside. And let's also make this clear. I am perceiving all these arguments as someone who is not a part of the anime community.
Of course.
And that's important when you're talking about a genre making its way into being more mainstream.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. You can have your spaces in the community that work, but if people outside aren't seeing it as such, which I think is fair to say there's a substantial amount of people who share my feelings outside of the anime community, then what's the point?
Yeah, no, that's a great argument. Still, the outside take doesn't define what a community is as its
And also, the definition of I don't think it's the actual definition of of community, but like a community of anything, of anime, of a TV show, of a real life community. It is a specific group of people who are interested in like something or have some form of connection to each other. An outsider, of course, isn't going to be like able to just instantly come into that community without first like becoming connected or like getting interested in that same thing. If you guys understand what I'm saying, like, you can't just say that a community is for people who enjoy the same thing. So an outsider to that community, you can't just say people are being mean because they don't want, they're not gearing towards people who are outside their community. Of course, they're making stuff for the people inside their community. It'd be a waste of time to be making stuff for people who aren't even interested in that thing.
Right. That's just a perspective that maybe you have, and I'm sure other people have too. But being in the actual community itself, it's not that toxic, right? And I believe this because, sure, there are people that have these debates. Most of them are actually just funny, friendly banter, right? I would say that there's maybe the 1%, like it's like a little too heated, right? But I think that's like a reflection on themselves, like individually, and it doesn't like affect the entire community, if that makes sense. It's only a very small minority. So the community itself is not toxic. That would be my debate.
I would disagree. But
yeah, I mean, I think that's all
I have no more on this topic.
Yeah.
That was good. If anyone else would like to debate this, please go to the table in 3, 2.
I feel like he was like I feel like this dude was in debate class. My word, bro. You have something to say?
All right, I'm gonna leave you there. Hello.
Oh, your guys' shoelace is tied together.
Yeah. So you think the anime community is what ruins anime? Honestly, I think the anime community makes anime better.
Why?
Look at where anime was 10 years ago.
Oh,
I don't know where
People
was
were
it 10 years
people were
ago?
made fun of
There was
for
no
liking anime.
10 years ago.
People were made fun of for liking anime.
Good.
People were bullied, but now it is so more welcome than it was 10 years ago because of the community. Look at all the expos and conventions where all these fans come together,
I know, man.
right? Oh, no, what do you mean? Okay, no, you guys agree. You guys agree. You guys all agree. You too. Because like, think about it. Think about it, Matt. So basically, the anime community is what brings anime more open, right? Look at all the Crunchyroll awards or all these award shows. All these big celebrities are coming out into the open of their love for anime because of what the community brings. It's not like Star Wars. Because you look at communities in Western media, they are way more toxic than the anime community.
How are they toxic?
Do I even need to go into that?
Yeah, what? How is a Star Wars fan more toxic?
You're toxic.
I'm toxic.
You're toxic. You're toxic.
See, that's ad hominem. You're insulting me. That's bad.
I'm insulting you. You're insulting me.
Yeah, you threw the
Ties
first.
ain't even. Fix your tie. You know I will.
Kill him.
Let's go, Matt. No.
Walk
In
away.
game.
Go. I'm walking. Good boy.
Alright, 10 seconds.
Welcome to the
Summarize
booth.
report. My name's Cade. Summarize
Speak.
report. No, summarize report real quick. I was falling asleep. I was boring. Speed it up.
That's crazy.
Oh,
Yeah,
got
that's
him.
crazy.
I don't think I need
You're
to-
crazy.
If you're falling
You're
asleep from
insane.
what I say, then
You're
I'm gonna
manipulating me
repeat
now
myself.
too. What?
I don't need to speak again for someone who's falling asleep.
Sneaky points, bro. Everything you say is cap. We're right.
Bro just came to rage bait. Bro did what he needed to do and did.
Next topic. Cosplaying is weird.
All right, if you would like to go.
Before they even say anything, I don't cosplay. First, I'd like to say that. But, bro, you see so many gaming cosplays. So many. I see there are more superhero cosplay out there. Well, probably not more, but just as many superhero cosplays as there are anime cosplays. So you can't say that's just an anime thing. What are you saying, Surge Man? Star Wars fans get mad heated if you confuse them with Star Trek. Bro, if you don't know this exact scene from this exact movie and in the exact trilogy, are you really a Star Wars fan? This one looked like a cosplay.
Treat, nice to meet you.
Max.
So I disagree with that, and I would like to ask, what make it weird for you?
Yeah, well, I'll just say this. There's nothing wrong with cosplaying. I think if someone finds enjoyment out of doing cosplaying, then they should do
Okay, then
it.
why are you calling it
But
weird?
I don't think anyone would say it's normal or a thing that's not weird, right? Define weird as something that's not normal and maybe a little bit strange way to behave. And I don't think anyone would argue or find it accurate that cosplaying isn't weird.
Okay, now you bro hating.
So, okay.
Okay, you can't say something is weird because weird is all about perspective. Like, someone might find something else weird that someone else finds completely normal, and vice versa. So you can't use the argument of it's weird because it's weird.
From your perspective, it's usually reinforced from stereotyping. That's usually make your brain lump down everything, just kind of break it out over a individuality of how someone can be very complex as a person. We want to express yourself. What's considered weird to you because it is out of your social norm? Something can be yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. Especially in America, there's a lot of diverse culture in here, so you get to see a lot of perspective. Like for cosplayer, there's
hands are
in
shaking.
Asia, Vietnamese, Chinese, Korean, Japanese. We all, like, it's not just essentially just a hobby. It's also like a way for us to express ourselves. There's a bunch of holidays that you can
How do
dress
you
up.
express yourself though by pretending that you're someone that you're not? That I don't understand. Explain that to me.
Okay, you're not technically pretending as someone else. You're showing your love for the character. And a way to do it is, for cosplaying, saying that is also a little bit like vague. It's oversimplifying a lot of like point as well.
And what's the difference between dressing up in a costume and cosplaying?
For that point, it's the same because in America, Halloween you're allowed to like wear a costume. It's just a Western way to saying that. For cosplay, it's just how
like Halloween
most
is
people in
just
Asia
cosplay.
decide to, like, it's just a word that we define ourselves.
Okay, so it's the same thing as dressing up for a costume.
Yeah, it's kind of, there's nothing weird about it. It's weird because your brain's reinforce older stereotype, and because it's
I think so. I don't think it's weird to dress up. I think it's weird if you internalize it, right? If you're dressing up, constantly internalizing, this is like
Exactly.
a second secret identity I have, and that's weird. And I think that's something I have observed in a lot of the anime community, frankly.
You cannot say that. I disagree, because that's take a very minority and just kind of sum it up.
Okay, and that's weird. That's weird, right? It's weird if you're dressing up as something and thinking that, like, internalizing the identity of what you're
Because
dressing
out of
up
your
as.
social norm, your brain, thinking like that's very narrow-minded, especially in America. There's so many different culture out there.
Yeah.
It's just a way for us to
time's up,
express
buddy.
yourself. And
All right, that's 10. Please walk off. You've been voted out.
Also, this guy
3,
keeps on
2,
interrupting. I
1.
just noticed.
Hello,
Hi.
my name's Athena.
Max, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So before I continue, I would just like you to reiterate your point directly to me. Okay.
Yeah, so the point I made last is that cosplay, if you want to do it and it's the way you want to enjoy yourself, that's fine. But it's weird, especially if you're internalizing the identity that you are dressing up as when you're cosplaying.
So I understand where you're coming from, but you do have to acknowledge not all cosplayers do that. Personally, when I cosplay, I don't view myself as that character. I view myself as expressing my appreciation and love for this character. And the basis of that is outside of us.
Personally, I'm not, this is the, like, I wouldn't say the first one he's been losing, but this is the worst performing one that the hater's been doing. Like, this is his worst performance so far, because this one he's just more interrupting than anything. Like, he's just saying, he's just cutting people off. And would I personally cosplay? No, not really. I don't really got the time for all that, nor the energy, nor do I love a character that much that I'd cosplay as them. But, like, it's perfectly normal, bro. Like, especially now with how, like, mainstream anime has become. His point is, like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it's completely invalid.
The hobby. It is to connect with others. And then cosplay in itself is a very popular hobby. And again, self-expression is very important. So cosplay aside, when other people indulge in their hobbies, do you find their hobbies weird?
It depends on the hobby.
You cosplay as Ben. Oh wait, we did. Oh, I completely forgot. Yo, actually, yeah, the Ben 10 cosplay tough, bro. That was tough. Never mind. Ben 10 cosplayer here, confirmed. Yeah, that was tough.
I think my point is that if you want to dress up as something, that's fine. But if you're
Okay, so he's just saying
around-
any hobby that isn't my hobby is weird. Any hobby that I don't know of is weird. That's kind of what he's saying. I don't like this point. He's losing like rapidly.
Dressing up like a dog and barking like a dog, that's weird. And I don't think that's normal. Again, I
Who's
still fully
doing
support
that?
their right to bark like a dog.
Okay,
and-
like I don't know where he's finding his information. This is like heavy stereotyping. Like, not once. Maybe there are definitely people out there, furries. Of course, there are furries and stuff, but like, yeah, this is just loud minority
Want to?
syndrome again.
Go ahead and do it, but that's weird. And like, again, we'll extrapolate overall in the anime community as you have people that are in character and sort of taking on the identity and role and acting out their character often for extended periods of time, right? I think that's weird, right? Because then you're ignoring yourself and you're ignoring your life as a person, an actual person, and that's weird.
So before I continue to my next point, I do want to acknowledge, yes, while that is a thing, there is a generalization. You are blurring the lines between cosplay and identifying as something. And when you cosplay, you don't inherently identify. So creating that generalization is unfair to the cosplay community as a whole. And again, on top of that, it is a hobby. It is something people make careers out of. It is a form of self-expression.
And that's a normal way to make a career?
I mean, are freelancers, artists normal careers?
No, and then you could say that's weird though, too. Doesn't mean it's bad, it's just weird. It's not normal. Isn't that what weird is? Something that's not normal?
But it's only not normal because you have that prejudice in your mind. If you look past what you already view as weird.
Oh man, she was about to cook. She was about to cook. She was about to cook. She was about to cook.
Next person, if you would like to debate this, please walk to the table in 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I was gonna say everyone wants a piece of this.
It's
welcome
nice,
back.
nice
Yeah.
to see you again. So this is, okay, I have a lot to say on this one.
Okay.
I'm a cosplayer, not currently, but I do this professionally. This is my job. I make a living off of this, so
Yeah.
I have a lot to just expose
Okay.
your brain to
Okay,
on this
expose
subject.
me.
So you
Expose
are
me.
definitely adding on to what Athena was saying, blurring a line between cosplayers and a very small minority of the community who get like a very overly emotional attachment and start to identify as a certain character. But let me ask you, have you ever been to Disneyland?
Of course.
Okay. Have you seen the character actors at Disneyland?
Yeah, those are cosplayers.
Exactly, they're cosplayers, but they're specifically in character as those people, and they're getting paid to do
But
that.
what would
but,
you call the people then who?
But cosplayers are not necessarily the people who work at Disneyland. So not all cosplayers are going to be emulating that character that they're cosplaying.
What would you call those people then who are emulating their character?
Character actors, and that is not a character actor is not a cosplayer.
That's even weirder. Damn. Okay.
But that's a profession, and people make
Character. Okay, so you're saying acting is weird? There are so many actors people look up to, but you're going by your logic, they're weird. Dwayne The Rock Johnson is weird because he plays Black Adam. He plays I forget his name, but the dude in Fast and Furious. He plays a bunch of other. He played a character in Jumanji. Kevin Hart is weird because of that. Robert Downey Jr. is weird because he played Iron Man. This logic makes no sense.
a lot of money doing that, but cosplay is very different. And while cosplayers can cosplay, like Disney characters or Marvel characters or comic book characters or anime characters, you have to think about how it is also an industry, and it really is an industry in itself. Like, people are selling, their services. Cosplay is one of the only hobbies, I feel, that encapsulates hundreds of different skills and professions and so many different things that take to make it, and saying that is weird is like saying that all of these other umbrellas underneath it are also weird. In fact, it's actually very impressive to be able to combine so many different skills and efforts and careers and fields into one singular thing, and I feel like there's not many things in terms of hobbies that do that, but that's not inherently weird. I feel like that is actually very impressive to the normal person.
Can't something be both weird and impressive though?
I feel it. I mean, but
like,
that
isn't
just,
it weird? Like when you
but
have a kid.
that's
Like I have a
comes
friend,
down to
for
personal
example,
bias.
and he can multiply like 2-3 digit numbers like in his head within like 10 seconds.
Okay.
That's weird. It's also really impressive.
It's very
right?
impressive.
But like it's a little weird. Like what's going on in your head?
But I also feel like that. Oh, yeah.
Yo, if that kid sees that, bro, what? Okay, he's saying it's not inherently means something's bad, but then he'll say, but like, what's going on in your head? Like, he's definitely giving it a negative connotation by saying that, but also saying that doesn't mean it's bad. You're making it seem like weird is bad. Weird doesn't always mean bad. Of course that's true. But the way you're describing weird is making it seem like you're using the negative connotation of weird.
That's definitely a statement. I feel like your perspective so far has been inherently negative weird, but here you are also acknowledging that things
that's
can
what
be
I'm saying.
impressive but weird to you.
No, look,
and
I love
feel like in
that people
sense,
that get
it's coming
into
down
what
to
they
your
care about.
personal bias, and you are starting to think less of a whole objectively and more debating on your personal bias.
That's not true, okay? I think that I've made it very clear during this discussion that I think people can have fun, and they should have fun being cosplayers. I have nothing against people doing that and expressing themselves. I just think it's weird, and that's why I don't do it. I mean, you could argue that me wearing a suit to this fucking debate is a little weird, but here we are.
It fits the bill.
Yeah,
It's fun.
isn't that cosplaying though a little bit? So aren't I technically cosplaying right now? But aren't I a little weird for showing up to
See-
debate 20 people about anime
No.
in a suit?
And
Like that makes me weird.
I even have another point. So, fun fact, and this is kind of a fun fact.
Yeah.
So the word you talked earlier about like Halloween, and
Yeah.
that's a very good point to bring up because cosplay can be Halloween. You're dressing up as a character, your kids dress up, your family dresses up,
Yeah.
and so that's a very normalized occasion in the West for people who maybe are into whatever they like. If they're really into Marvel or if they're really into that, that's not weird.
That's normal, but I guess the point is when people use the word cosplay in media, they're not talking about Halloween. They're not even really talking about someone at like a fair that's like dressing up.
I'm so glad
right?
that you mentioned
They're talking
the
about
word.
a motorcycle made guy.
I'm so glad that you mentioned the word cosplay because that's another fun
She has so
fact.
many fun facts.
A very long time ago, I believe sometime around the 50s or 60s, and somebody fact check me on that. But some kind of convention
80s.
gathering, I can't remember exactly what it was happening over here in the United States, and a reporter from Japan came to scope it out, check it out, and brought, saw what we were doing here, dressing up as characters from comics and series that we like, and brought that back and wrote an article, and thus the word cosplay was formed by creating, combining costume and play. And when you translate that into, to make it fit into the Japanese language, it comes out as cosplay. And cosplay is that. So it didn't the word itself is literally just describing people dressing up, and that could have been Halloween, that could have been everything.
Fine.
The word itself is
It came from America. You can't even say it's weird. Like weird in a sense of anime, because anime is Japanese content. But that's America. I didn't even know that, but that's cool. That's cool fact.
I have nothing against people dressing up, but the way cosplay is used in our media often describes more than that, right? It often describes, and obviously it seems like you have a lot. I'm talking about Western media. Online people on the internet in the United States, right?
Okay, and that's from your experience from not being in the community to see the full depth.
Absolutely, I recognize that. But I think my point is, if we're having a good faith debate about the word, then the way people understand the word as a whole matters, right? Even if it's necessarily not the definition.
Okay.
That's how language works. It matters. And
okay.
My take is.
Could you also argue that? Do you feel like what type of cosplay are you talking about? Are you talking about people who craft, people who dress up for Halloween, if cosplay
no,
is
I'm talking about if we're talking about what's objectively weird, we're talking about people who go out in public and internalize their characters and pretend they're someone they're not. Again, I totally have the right to do that, but I'm saying people, if that's not cosplay,
have
then
you experienced those people in person? Have
Yes.
you talked to somebody who is genuinely believing that they are that character?
Yes.
And what are the odds that you think you would meet somebody like that if you were to go into a designated space for cosplayers, con goers, anime lovers? What do you think is the probability that you would meet somebody?
I'm sure it's a spectrum, and there's probably most people like Motorcycle Mate who are pretty chill, actually. But do I what?
It's like
you're asking me, do I have a problem?
A probability of it. It's probably
He's
1
flaking
in 500
and low-key getting cooked right now, flailing. Yeah, he is low-key getting cooked. I was saying this is his worst performance yet out of all the things he's debated. This is his worst one.
Yeah, sure. And then 1 in 500 people are weird, and that's fine.
But when you, I would love.
No, not even a hit. He's glad that one.
The topic is live action will always be better than animation.
Please go up in 3, 2, 1.
You can do so much more stuff on animation.
Welcome.
I'm partial to both. I enjoy both, love him equally, but it's not good, always better. Like, you can do so much more stuff with animation.
Right, Max.
Michelle.
Nice to meet you.
So please describe why do you think live action is better than anime?
I think it's not a matter of the art itself. I think something can be great in both categories. My argument is more so if you look at the most impactful pieces of media that have been created, especially in film, some of the greatest movies of all time, they're all live action. You don't see animes mentioned in terms of the most culturally impactful pieces of art that are motion picture, correct?
Correct. So when you say culturally, it does depend on the culture.
Right.
And compared from the US to Asia, it's definitely a huge dynamic of how anime is portrayed and seen.
Yeah.
And for the value that people hold when it comes to action in
I'm betting I'm not saying this is fact, but I'm assuming that the Star Wars is obviously probably popular over there as well, but animated movies, anime movies are going to be way more popular over on that side of the pond. And what's it called? This Demon Slayer movie. Fact, you're gonna have to fact check me, but wasn't it mega big in Asian countries? It was absolutely massive. It was like the equivalent of a Marvel film for us.
Live films compared to anime, it does capture different aspects, but to predominantly say one is better than the other, it does depend on what is in the script, what's depicted throughout the animation, or the way that the camera captures live action.
Do you think anime is better than live action?
It's on playing grounds in the description of arts, because the arts covers a huge variety
Tiptoeing
of
around the
media
question.
portrayal and just how one is able to express like creativity, whether it's through actual face expressions or like
Yeah, I'm
visual
like
scenes,
with her.
or
It's
rather
equal.
the dynamic that animation can create a whole fantasy, not necessarily to cater to a specific culture, but essentially to bring to life what the script is actually meaning. In terms of being able to add color, being able to bring.
So sorry, your argument is that anime can bring to life more aspects of what's animation than live action, therefore it's better.
With more creative freedom, because there's CGI in live action film, but that does come with a huge budget. When it comes to Marvels, they have a huge budget to be able to disperse all of that. But when it comes to animation, it doesn't matter how much budget one can, but they're able to utilize it through the arts, through the depiction, and their efforts in order to create a whole scene that's able to encapsulate a whole script.
And that's a great argument, and I think that democratization of creativity that animation can bring across the film space compared to getting a high budget Hollywood film is a great thing, right? But objectively, let's say we're watching with a film with a big spaceship like exploding or something like that. Isn't it way cooler to see it happen in live action than anime?
But isn't that just a utilization of CGI essentially?
I'm sure, but it's cooler.
It is cooler, but it's
Okay, so his arguments have just been devolving since the first one. He started off real hot, now he's just got whimpering out of this like, it's cooler though, but like, it's cooler. It's cooler. That's what he said.
dependent on which culture you're predominantly invested in.
Sure, but that's a great point about the cultures, and it's important to remember that anime and animation cultures are very small, right? And while they are confined to their nations and Western media is confined to the United States, Western media and United States film, particularly stuff produced here in California, have impacted the entire world in maybe a way anime hasn't.
10 flags.
He's picking up steam again. But like,
3.
call him
2,
small is low-key
1.
insulting.
I think Johnny got it.
Was there any need to get him off for us?
Alright, welcome back, Johnny.
Max, bro, I'm back. It's good to see you, bro. All right, I think obviously everything's subjective, but I think anime is better than live action.
That's weird. Why?
Really? Is it weird?
Yeah.
Dude, that's not cool, bro. Why are we just resort to insults? Why don't we just be a little bit nice, huh?
Alright, bro.
Okay, so
No, wait. Let him go. This is gonna be fun.
Okay, I'll be serious. All right, pretend that didn't happen, guys. All right, I think anime in general, objectively, could have a more creative, just everything than live action. Yes or no?
Yeah, no, that's what she said, and
Really?
I actually agree with that point.
Okay, then I think it's better.
I don't think that makes it better. I think it makes it more creative potentially.
Then let me see. I actually want to hear. Why do you think live action is better than anime, just in general, or animation?
I think seeing, and obviously this is subjective, but I think there's a value in seeing someone who looks exactly like you and experiences life in the same ways physically than you when you're understanding a story and the way the story is told makes it easier to relate to the person.
Okay.
And on
That's
top
a
of
valid
that,
argument.
again, as I've said earlier, every single piece of media in film that has been the most impactful is live action. You can't say that about anime. Look, anime has played a great role in its community, but you rarely hear talks of Attack on Titan or One Piece having great impacts on the community as a whole.
All right. Okay. All right, man. Okay.
Maybe in your little like anime reporter blog.
Yo, we dissing now?
In the New York Times.
Funny. Okay, I'm not even talk about that. Okay, why do people go to amusement parks most of the time? So my main argument is escapism, right? People will watch things for that general aspect of life. I think live action, sorry, I'm talking, buddy. Live action in general isn't as much escapism as anime will ever be because they have more of a creative thing where they could literally make anything happen more than live action. As you said, and let's say Flow, for example, won Best Animation. How much did that cost to make? Probably about $100,000. And he was able to make that whole creative thing with animation. He wouldn't have ever been able to make a cat having walking around the earth after a whole natural disaster in live action. It's not possible. And that's why I see the value in animation as more valuable. Obviously, live action is great.
Great film.
Yeah, great film. Oh, you watched it?
Yeah.
Really? Oh, nice. Hey, so you agree with me, huh?
That was $4 million?
Huh? Okay, what's Avengers Endgame?
No.
What's Avengers Endgame?
Avengers Endgame is like 100.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And okay, continuing, I think just in general, animation, you can make super cool stories with that low budget, and I think that's the coolest thing. I think, let's say, Demon Slayer, for example, although people don't think it's the greatest thing, it had amazing animation and fight scenes that got people more hyped than some of these Avengers movies that cost like $1 billion. Yes, 1,000%.
I don't know about that.
Okay, wait. Let's talk about let's talk about it. Let's be honest. He's saying has it been as impactful as TV? I'd say it sure as heck has. Think back. I don't know if y'all were even there for that. I didn't watch it particularly. I hadn't even watched it. But Ultra Instinct Goku quite literally shattered the internet. And when I mean shattered, I don't mean metaphorically, I mean literally. Some anime websites were down for hours just because so many people are trying to watch it. So many forums and threads like that, people were talking so much it was slowing down the servers. I wasn't on Twitter at the time, but I'm assuming Twitter was absolutely there was a complete and utter meltdown on Twitter. And that was how long ago? That was, I want to say, almost a decade ago. Not almost a decade ago now. Almost a decade ago. And now that anime is even more prevalent, if Ultra Instinct Goku happened again, it would be just as big. Something even more recent. What's it called? Gear 5 Luffy. That shattered the internet. Not as much, I'd say. It was, but almost to the same level as Ultra Instinct Goku did. You could not go on any anime watching servers or any anime watching platform without it being down because so many people were trying to watch Gear 5 Luffy. That was all anyone was talking about. Sure, it won't be... No. I feel like more and more outlets are talking about this stuff. But, yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about.
Me out, bro. I got people down. Hey, I was cooking. All right. Yeah, good.
Brody wants to go.
Welcome back, scum.
So your argument is that live action
My
is
argument
better?
is that it's both more impactful and it's cooler.
It's cooler?
Yeah.
In what way? I want to know why before I get into it.
I would rather look at a real life person than an animated person. As I said earlier, I would rather see a fight scene in real life than in anime.
So you'd rather look at you'd rather watch a movie, you'd rather watch Pedro Pascal in the same movie role 10 times over than seeing something with complete originality, with limitless budget and creativity.
I think there is
there is so much more to animation than meets the eye. The themes, I'm just gonna say, let me the themes are way more clear in anime.
We're having a good conversation.
The themes in anime are way more clear.
They're saying forget the flag.
One Piece. Just let me have one more point. We also have to go beyond just live action, like you prefer it. Just look at Hollywood. Maybe 30 years ago I'd agree with you, right? But right now, it's just recycled sequels and movies
that's a
regulated
big problem.
and franchise. But then when you go to anime, let's say you don't like something.
I like his point. Why'd they put flags up? They needed to let him cook, chat. They needed to let him cook. Cause I'm picking up what he's putting down, chat. Because Yo, I think I'm working on a video right now about this whole topic. Not the topic of anime hated. I'm talking about like TV and Hollywood and just movies in general have fallen off a cliff. Like there's no creativity. Bar the three most recent like big superhero releases, that being Superman, Fantastic Four, and like the Thunderbolts. Superhero movies were in the trenches, bro. They were in the trenches. Before those three movies that I just mentioned, the new Superman, Fantastic Four, and the Thunderbolts, the last good superhero movie I can think of was Spider-Man No Way Home. That's how far back. And what was that? That was time ago. That was a long time ago. But like, that is the last genuinely good one, in my opinion, at least. But not just movies. Actually, back on the movies. Sequels. They are pumping out sequels and remakes like a mother. Like, they cannot hop off this. Like, not everything needs to be live action. They went back and remade Lion King in live action. Mulan in live action. None of them captured the same, Snow White in live action. None of those could even touch the original animated versions. Like, it would be disrespectful to even compare that. Yeah, let's talk about animation. Let's talk about Disney. Disney was so much better before they started pumping out live action nonsense. So, by his logic, he's saying the original Mulan is worse than the new one, the live action one. By his logic, he's saying the original Snow White isn't as good as this new one. By his logic, the Lion King live action is better than the original Lion King. The one that shaped generations. The one that is iconic. He wants to talk about things that shape media. The Lion King shaped media. Disney animation, changed the entire world. But I digress.
Right? Let's say something doesn't resonate with you. You can just go on to the next. And that has just as much creativity and originality and passion, right? Because, listen, with a Hollywood movie, people will go see a Leonardo DiCaprio movie despite it being bad or good, just because his face is on the poster. Mm-hmm. But with anime, you don't get to see that face. You don't get to see who's behind the voice.
All right, this is a long point.
Well, okay, so Gianni got voted out, and then he went 5 more minutes. No, here, wait, finish your point.
I'm just saying, the people behind anime try harder to create something that resonates with a person because of the limitations they have, because it's behind animation. And that's why I say animation is better. Just look at Avatar: Last Airbender. That is not anime, but it's animation. Just look at
Ethan,
Attack on Titan.
Ethan.
It was constructed in a certain way to encapsulate viewers because you don't know anything about these characters. But with live action movies, you recognize an actor.
I'm not even gonna lie. Look, I'm not even gonna lie. He cooked with that. Because look at the biggest problem in Hollywood over the past few years has been the ample amount of remakes and sequels and adaptations. And you're right, that's happening because they know they can make money off that. And anime, that's right, people have the budget for that creative freedom. And that's a fair point. I still think I would rather watch a live action movie, but that's a really great point about the creative freedom it gives. So, hell yeah.
All right, thank you.
I got voted out, but I just needed to say my piece, all right?
You need to say his piece.
All right, but thank you.
Best point so far. Oh, wait, hold on. Is Big Bro gonna kick up again?
Back. So I just want to clarify before I start. Your argument is live action will always be better than animation as a whole, correct?
I'm arguing that it looks cooler and it is more impactful.
All right, so with that in mind, I'm not going to give you my opinion. I'm going to give you a fact here. Are you familiar with Hamlet at all?
Right.
The Shakespeare story?
Play. Yes.
Well, if you look commercially, if you look at critic scores, the best version of Hamlet that has been put on film is Lion King. And that's not my opinion. That's based on the gross domestic money earned. It's earned by the amount of reviews. So in that case, that's not even me arguing the opinion. I don't have to. People have already done it. You see, the thing about animation is you're able to capture certain stories in a way that allows for an expressive way that doesn't, how do I put this?
And it's funny you use Lion King as the example as a story that made more impact as anime, because I would actually disagree that Lion King has had a much greater impact as a Broadway show.
Oh, come on. Oh, what is he talking about? as a Broadway show? And would it be a Broadway show without the original? Now, would it be a Broadway show without the original? I don't care what these stats are saying. The Broadway version... Bro, of course Broadway tickets are going to cost way more because you're seeing it in real life. A movie ticket is going to cost like what? At that time especially, maybe $5. And if they did inflate it in today's dollars, maybe like 12. But Broadway tickets, they go for like, I don't even know. I've never bought a Broadway ticket. But I'm assuming $90, $100 a pop.
Film even, where it keeps getting seen more and more. And that is arguably a live action version of an animated film that people continue to experience.
If you're gonna
so is
argue
it
to
really
me-
just all anime that is the reason Lion King has been so impactful? Or
If
is it
you're
live
arguing to
action
me
and anime?
that the Broadway musical of Lion King has been seen more than the film, I can go pull up the stat. I know that's not true. And I was a theater kid. I loved the Lion King Broadway show. However, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's gotten more views, it's gotten a better critical reception, because at the end of the day, it didn't. The
My
original
point is
one-
more, though, in your one example of anime being incredibly impactful, it still has played a role, live action and both.
Alright.
And people love still seeing that great story. It was such a great anime story, right, that people had to see it in person.
So let
to
me
make
give you a
it better.
second example then, because you're saying I'm going off of one. How about this? There has not been a Spider-Man film that has been more commercially successful than Into the Spider-Verse. That has been better received by critics than Into the Spider-Verse.
Okay.
Both of which was done because, unfortunately, a human being cannot swing around like Spider-Man like an animation
That's
can.
fine. They animated Lord of the Rings in the 20th century, right? No one watches that because they made live action versions of that are the most epic movie trilogy ever.
We're
right?
also talking about the studio with the budget of a ham sandwich you made. We're not talking about...
Oh wait, that's funny. That's funny.
Someone like Sony, someone like Disney, who, if they were to get the rights to do it, I'm sure would be better. Let's also look, talking about Lord of the Rings, the most recent Amazon series, which was live action, didn't do very good commercially. Are you going to say that because of that one I think might arguably be actually lower reviewed than the original animation? So now we're back to the animation did better than the live action version.
Well, no. With the trilogy is obviously the most successful, whether it's The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings.
Can you think of another one that started as a animation that did better in live action? Because we can go to Disney. Let's see, Snow White
He's
did
doing
better
what I was talking
as
about.
the animation. Aladdin did better as the animation. Beauty and the Beast did better as the animation. So we're seeing time and time again that when a story is starting as an animation, it's getting converted over to live action. It's clearly not doing as good. You can say you like the film. You can say, oh, I personally thought it was better. But at the end of the day, if we're using facts and facts alone,
Why are they giving him red? Why are they giving him red? What, like, okay, sometimes I just feel like they're putting up red just to be petty. Cause like, he's cooking, Chad.
critics are saying that that is objectively better based on average reviews, and if we're going off of real income, those movies, the animations have made more than the live
That's
action
fine, but if you
versions.
go and look up the top 100 shows or top 100 movies of all time, you're probably not seeing much anime on there. And I think that's important to consider when we're talking about the impact of these shows versus anime versus not in the broad scheme of things.
I think that's good.
We're getting tired, man. Good point, though.
That was incredible.
Our last topic is anime will never be mainstream.
3, 2,
It
1.
already is. It already is, unfortunately. It already is.
Welcome back.
With you again. Good. Why do you think anime will never be mainstream, even though I kind of think it already is?
Anime will never be mainstream. Again, let's go back to what we were talking about last time. When we talk about some of our most famous shows and most impactful pieces of cinema and film and television, not necessarily anime. At least they're far in the minority, right? That's one factor. Two, I think it goes back to a lot of the rest of our conversation we've had, that the anime community, while it is big and expansive, it's isolated. And
I'd have to disagree with that. Bro Diggity, I promise you, go to get a random person anywhere, even you. You clearly know of anime, brother. You already openly admitted to watching an anime movie, Hope, which I, an anime fan, I didn't even know about that. Yet you watched it, and you're supposed to be the anime hater, and You believe it's not mainstream, yet you know of it. You know of anime. The fact alone you know of anime and have watched it is proof enough that it's mainstream if you're arguing against anime, yet you've watched it.
Because of that, I would argue that it can't be a mainstream topic.
I can go in reverse and say that although you may think it's isolated, it's kind of expanding ever so slightly, and in many ways even. Now, conventions, of course, being hosted here and there are many more niche events other than just conventions being hosted now in different areas, such as like nightclubs and stuff. They kind of have like nights dedicated to like animes and cosplay, or again, more kind of.
Do people who are not part of the community attend these events though? No,
I feel like
right?
as mutuals, I feel like possibly yes, because what would happen is a lot of fans will go and be like, oh, I got a friend, we'll bring them along, and they may well just put them on that.
Let's put
But
it
in the
this way.
sense of-
I got a lot of friends here who enjoy anime. I don't think I've ever been invited to go to an anime event with any of them. So.
Are you fun at parties?
Alright, you got me.
But I got you. Okay, there we go. But I will say that it is.
I'm wearing a suit to debate people about anime. Do you think I'm fun at parties?
Well, some people got a little fun shirt on the bottom. What you got underneath?
All right, when the
There's nothing
to play that game, dog.
But I will say though, it is plenty mainstream enough. I mean, let's start big. Let's go with the Vegas sphere. As of recently actually, there's been a lot of footage that they've been promoting a One Piece on that insanely. I mean, like I think every few hours in the day they'll play a promo featuring a different character each time, and I think it was like 90-something scenes at once, at the same time, kind of spiraling around it. I mean, that's the Vegas sphere. That's already a big thing enough. And that's not enough for you. Irvine Spectrum recently had a collab with Gundam, and they kind of had this whole like timeline Gundam verse. And I'd gone there myself about 2 times. Dude, it was packed all the time. People kind of lining up for the event. People buying at early access, flying in from different states, and that was all also coming alongside the.
Yeah, I completely disagree with his point. I mean, not his point, not the dude in the hat, but like, old suit boy. I completely forget his name. I think it's like Max or something. Anime is already mainstream. You know you know of 3 anime characters. You know of 3 animes. I could go up to anyone they know of. Well, 3. Yeah, like Pokemon. Yeah, people know. Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon, Naruto. I feel like everyone has heard of those names before. Yeah. Or One Piece, maybe.
A movie that had come out recently for the new Gundam movie, basically. And on the topic of movies as well, some anime movies have been nominated for Oscars. I'm not sure if they won or not, but being nominated for an Oscar is grand enough. I mean, that's a huge opportunity to win.
What's the cat movie called again? Flow. Yeah. That was nominated for. That won. Right? Yeah, that won.
It won. Wow, there you go. You see.
There you go.
You just proved my point.
And that happens, but few and far between, right? And look, I would love for anime to be able to have more wind in the creative space, but it just doesn't, right? You're talking about these events that probably a lot of people attend and are happening, but where are they being talked about? Where are they being covered? The point is, right, someone who's like me isn't seeing this on the main front page of the New York Times. I'm not seeing it in mainstream media.
Okay, who's reading the New York Times is the real question.
It's out there, but
what about the Macy's
showing.
parade?
I'm so
Okay, bet. That's all good. Thank you.
You did great.
Thank you guys.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, this time I'll actually shake your hand. Okay, no, I will shake your hand this time because I think you did. You made some points, right? But I think anime is already mainstream because of one reason, right? What is the go-to streaming platform to like watch your shows? Like one of them.
Netflix.
Yeah, perfect. Netflix. And guess what was the 3rd most watched show of the entire year in 2023? I'm saying 2023 as the main example.
Sure. What was it?
One Piece. And it had 500 million views, the live action one. Okay, but everyone knows the live action. But, right, how is that not mainstream enough if it's the 3rd most watched show of the entire year?
One Piece is a mainstream piece of media. I'm not going to
And anime, what is One Piece? It's anime.
It's an anime, right? But it doesn't mean that
It's mainstream. Like what? Okay, I'll do another point. Okay. Look, every single time. Are you guys done? Wait, give me 1 second.
the problem is, hey, this is the problem with the anime community right now.
No way! No way!
Yo, we hating now.
You didn't even let me finish. You went off stage. That's crazy. You didn't even want to hear it.
All right, next person up in 3, 2, 1.
So I'm gonna bring up the point that I'll do it myself. Anime is actually already mainstream, and so to go off Aiden's point, he uses Netflix, right? It's not actually just Netflix. It's Hulu. It's Disney Plus. It's almost every big streaming company right now is fighting for the rights to get anime on board, right? So you saying that it'll never be mainstream? It's made huge movement to become.
Oh yeah.
mainstream.
Speaking of which, that Netflix thing. Oh my word! When did Netflix acquire every single anime known to man? Like for some reason they just have every anime. Like you go back 2 years ago, there was never this much anime, and it started with their acquisition of One Piece, bro. Like you couldn't anime like if you're not watching it illegally, you're watching it on Crunchyroll or for us old heads Funimation. But now you can go to Netflix, Hulu, all these places they're talking about. You anime everywhere. It's Netflix has a whole section. You know how they have the rows with movies, family movies. They have a whole row for anime. And it's pretty high up. It's not like something niche.
I would argue that it still actually is mainstream right now. I could also bring up the point that you have major. You said you don't see like anime on a day-to-day basis. But you have major companies right now that will do collaborations to promote their brands using animation or anime. For example, the Lakers, right? The Lakers did a collab with One Piece. I would say that that's like a pretty standard, like everybody knows the Lakers. You have big companies like Nike, Vans, many more. Designer brands, I'm pretty sure, have done anime collaborations. I would argue that in itself is mainstream.
That is mainstream, and that's the best argument I've heard so far.
I was gonna say that, y'all.
Yeah, but you got mad anyway. So you lost. Anyway, problem is, you guys can have as much attention and be in the mainstream as you want, but you're still a weird, isolated community.
Whoa, what's he just insulting them?
Your anime bubble, you're all still just there, right? Okay. You're all still each other off and whatever.
Wow. He's just lost. He knew he lost, so he just lost the plot.
Curb down the obscenities.
And because of the way the community is perceived outside of the community, it's difficult for someone like me to be like, oh yeah, those people have a lot of influence over culture. Okay. Because I would say they don't.
Yeah. So, I mean, you brought up some pretty extreme points there. What I will say to those points, those are very extreme. But just because something is perceived to be weird to you doesn't mean that
it's not about it being perceived weird to me. It's about how those perceptions, which are widespread and matter, affect the way everyone else engages.
This took way longer than I thought, so I think I'm just gonna call it there, and then after this, and then I'll be streaming on Wednesday.
Thank you, everyone. Disclaimer: I actually don't hate anime. I just don't watch it. But thank you, everyone, for coming. It was a great debate.
Well, of course they have to put 8 in.
I'm Max, and what?
More strong word, but yeah, low key, I am I'm not like 100%, and this took way more time than I thought. So I'm actually gonna call it there. Wednesday we'll probably do some more gaming, way more gaming focused stream. Maybe we'll make another tier list or something, and then Friday, be here on Friday for my big stream. On Friday, yeah. Catch y'all later.